Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. I have today with me Sriram Seshadri, and we're going to talk about what happened really in Karnataka elections and also the importance of Sengol, the tradition that has been followed for hundreds of years, if not thousands, and why somebody is trying to make politics even out of something that all should be proud about. Thank you very much for giving your time today, Sriramji. Namaskaram and welcome to PGurus channel.
Namaskar, Sri here. Thank you.
So let's start first with the Karnataka interesting revelation as to who qualifies for the 200 units free electricity. The floor is yours. You put out a tweet, a very detailed one, and we're going to share that today via a slideshow. And this is really the jugaad of the highest order, in my opinion.
Yeah, before you put out, I want to just remind the audience of PGurus couple of things. When Congress put out their manifesto, or even before last 6 months, they have been talking about 5 guarantees. That is their platform on which they face the election. The first and foremost had been, 2,000 rupees assistance or 2,000 rupees grant to woman, household woman, head of the family or, woman. The second is 3,000 rupees to unemployed graduates. So these are the statements, no qualifiers, nothing, just the statements, okay, with certain name of the scheme. Third is 200 units free electricity. Fourth is a free bus to women. And there was a fifth one. I'll remember that.
For graduates, some amount of money, and for technicians, some amount of money, like unemployment.
That is the unemployed graduates grants, and 2,000 rupees to women, free bus to women, 200 units of electricity free. There was a fifth guarantee. Suddenly I forgot when I was just narrating.
That's okay. We're going to cover that as the part of slide deck.
As part of that slide deck. So this is the guarantee on which they started with. And then on the first cabinet meeting after swearing in, and we all expected that, if you start providing these benefits to the people, and in fact, they put out advertisement in, I think, one of the newspaper or all the newspaper, 40% sarkara beda, 5 guarantee beku, which means we don't want 40% sarkara, but we want 5 guarantees, from the Congress. That was the campaign strategy, and we all estimated a bare minimum of nearly 80,000 crores of exchequer spend every year if they were to do this 5 guarantees to all the people. That was the expectation. So what happened to that 5 guarantees? Almost all those guarantees are put under, they just passed an order one after the other. I think there are 2 more things. The order has not been yet published, but they put out order, published all the orders. And even the moment you look at the devil is in the details, the moment you look at the qualification criteria of each of this, what happens is not even 800 crores will be spent every year. Literally, nobody is eligible for any of the grants. For example, there was a news that the women passengers would be given free, free of charge bus ride. They said only for the Kannadigas. How would one find out whether you are a Kannadiga or a Tamilian or a Marathi or a Telugu? Because it's as a Hyderabad, Karnataka, where people speak Telugu. In Mumbai, Karnataka area, people speak Marathi. In most parts, some of the Mysore, Karnataka, and in southern Karnataka, people speak Tamil. And of course, all of them speak Kannada also. So how would you find out, brand them as Kannadiga? Are there going to be some identity card given and then DNA test done to say that you are a Kannadiga or not? So that is which means nothing is going to be given for the woman. To give 2,000 rupees grant every housewives. They laid out a lot of conditions that, literally even a household maid will not be eligible for. Those were the conditions. You cannot get, you should not own a house. You should not have even a small hut. You cannot have it. And, you cannot pay rent more than so many things. So they have then held on to that order. But, it is still under progression. Almost nobody will be eligible. For the graduate scheme, a brilliant idea came up from Siddaramaiah. They just announced it saying, those who graduated year 2023, that is this year, this academic year, whoever is graduating, and those who are not employed will be provided this grant for 2 years. These qualifiers were not there in the manifesto or the guarantee card that they issued to every household. No qualifiers were there. The icing on the cake is on the electricity, 200 units of electricity. Because
Sir, can you put the slide up for impact? Can you put the slide up for impact on this one? Yeah, go ahead, sir.
The highlight of this is 200 units electricity free. That was the condition. That was the promise. No other condition. Now the order has come out that the first and foremost condition is you cannot cross 200 units of consumption in a month, so that even if you cross 200 and then become 201, all the 201 units you have to pay for it. And there are a lot of items that they included, and and then later on they withdrew this list, but that was the original order where this list was there. You cannot have a plug point, you cannot have a LED bulb, you cannot have a smartphone. So literally nobody will qualify. Literally nobody. Even a hut will have a plug point, will have a smartphone, will have an LED bulb. Probably most of the huts will even have a washing machine, in my opinion. May not have a water heater, but at least a washing machine. They may not have an iron box, but at least some amount of rechargeable instruments, like a rechargeable light or something like that they would have. In short, all they are saying is you should have a 40 watts bulb, 2 40-watt bulbs, not more than that in your house. No household you can find without a fan. But I think later on this list was purged, and then probably they are reworking on the list, but it's a laughing stock of the moment. Literally the government faces a serious embarrassment, cheating the public. And you know what? Siddaramaiah started calling out, saying that center is not given any money to us. Center has not shared our share of GST. So a typical, whatever the Dravidian stock government which says, oh, center owes us so much, otherwise we would have done so many things. The similar tune the Siddaramaiah started singing. And why should center fund your 5 guarantees that you gave? The fifth one I remembered is 10 kg rice to all household, all the ration card holders. And that is now only for Antyodaya card holders, it will give 10 kg rice. And out of that, 5 kg is given by central government. And the remaining 5 kg will be now borne by the Karnataka government. One thing what Bommai government did wrong was, prior to COVID, Karnataka was giving 10 kg rice to people. And during COVID, when they started giving 5 kg rice to everybody, Karnataka government did not supplement it with additional 5 kg. They should have done it. But that's a promise. So whatever was there before COVID, they're just restoring it. And 10 kg also only for Antyodaya card, which is fair. See, I'm absolutely fine. All these subsidies or the help or whatever you call it, these guarantees given to a target set of people. Any economist would agree to that. But when you give a manifesto, you better qualify all these, saying that this is what our idea is. BJP did promise certain freebies, like a 3 LPG cylinders to below poverty group. And they promised half a liter milk to below poverty groups, Antyodaya card holders. So at least it was a targeted audience that they are talking about, and then one knows what is the outlay. In this case, this is a blatant lie and cheating. You know what? People started reacting. I think Kannadigas are one set of people who cannot take, betrayal. I think that is what they started, and I believe that a transport union wrote to the government saying that please immediately pass order for, all women to be traveling free of charge, because women board the bus and don't buy the ticket, because that's what the government had said. They don't want to buy the ticket. Government has promised, and I'm going to travel. I'm not going to buy the ticket. Do whatever you want. And we have seen some videos to that extent that electricity board officials come for meter reading. People are protesting, even to the extent one guy went about slapping the EB officials to say that government promised us 200 units free. Why are you coming for meter reading? So I'm not going to pay for this. So these are the set of things that we started seeing in less than 10 days of the governance. I think that is where, but unfortunately, what happened? None of the opposition, BJP is not even talking about this here. This is politics. This is politics, right? Don't you agree?
What's wrong with you guys? What's wrong with you guys? Why is it Sriram Seshadri and Sri Iyer? The two Sris are talking about this. You guys should be opening and you should be blasting it from every loudspeaker.
Exactly, right? Unfortunately, they are just not even protesting. They are not doing anything about it. And that is, politics is all about, sentiments, emotions, and narrative setting. And, in Madhya Pradesh, Kamal Nath has already promised 1,500 rupees and all those, old pension schemes. In Himachal, Congress promised old pension schemes. It's almost 8-9 months elections are done now. And except that they increase the petrol prices by increasing the VAT, they have not done anything to them. None of the promises are kept. They should have brought this out in Karnataka election. At least now they should learn and then bring this out during Madhya Pradesh election, saying that, see what happened in Karnataka. They promised all these and then they put all rest of the riders, which means 80,000 crores overnight became 800 crores. A brilliant strategy. People fallen for it. People went and voted lock, stock and barrel, cross-voted, because whoever were BJP supporters or JDS supporters voted for Congress, because this is the first time someone is guaranteeing, and every household was given this guarantee card saying that, you will get this. And a lot more things have happened during elections. We will anyway talk about this here. But this is the crux of the 5 guarantee, the platform on which the entire campaign happened. And that's gone for a toss. I'm
now,
just going to...
we have an even bigger revelation that is coming up. So stay tuned. Let's take the next slide, please. So, massive election scam by Congress. They gave 5,000 rupee ATM cards to the voters, and then when they started trying to encash it, they found that each of these cards had 0 balance. They were promised that every member was given this card saying that, okay, you get this card. Can you have the picture, please? This is the person who has made this statement. This is a press conference. We have given you the link. If you understand Kannada, you can watch the video. And he is giving you the data about what happened and how these people got cheated. So I'm going to give a little bit more information. Let Sriram ji take a look at this. Sriram, you want to say anything? Because we go to the next slide, which gives the actual details.
Yeah, see, the question is, we have seen in many parts of the country cash for vote scams, right? Tamil Nadu started in a big way, and then probably Tamil Nadu election, and nobody can win an election without giving cash for votes. And slowly people started expecting more and more and more. Unconfirmed report says that during Erode by-election, almost each vote was bought at 20,000 rupees of spend. And I was on the ground in Coimbatore, local body election. I was on the ground covering all the 100 wards. There is anywhere between 2,000 to 17,000 rupees per vote was paid for buying votes. So these have become norm in Tamil Nadu. Other parts of the country, of course, it is there. I'm not going to talk about, it didn't happen at all. But it was happening in a small pockets of places. But this is huge, and people just going and giving a 5,000 rupees preloaded card. At least the voters should have actually should have found out about it. In a constituency, if you are distributing this 5,000 rupees, preloaded card to be used after winning the election, 2 things or 3 things comes to my mind here. Number 1, how come no media at that point in time picked it up in a big way to be complained? What was Election Commission doing? Third, fundamentally, what was JDS and BJP doing on the ground? Were they not aware of this? These are the hardcore proofs, right? Forget about when you give a cash, one could say, one could claim that, look, this cash was mine. And, people could have distributed cash or other, articles or some sort of, gifts. But 5,000 rupees preloaded, cash card, they should have bought it from some bank, right? Naturally, that a huge purchase from a bank, if it was real, right? Eventually, we believe that these are all fake cards or cash cards that are printed and then just distributed at free will. Instead of one, keep two also, doesn't matter, because anyway, no, you are not going to get money. And then I think the promise given to them, in my opinion, when I read the tweet by this person, was that you have to go and withdraw only after the election is over. That is when we will load this card. So people just believed it and then sold their vote for this. I didn't think Kannadigas are that stupid. They should have, if they had done a bit of due diligence, they would have come to know that this was a fake card. Over to you, Sriram, at least to walk them through what happened.
Yes. So thank you so much, Sriram. So viewers, think of a prepaid card as something like a debit card with a balance in it, and you just draw down on the balance all the way down to zero. And if you look at that card, right, there is only an expiration date. You cannot have a start date. The start date is already issued. I mean, the moment you get the thing in your hand, then you are supposed to sign it, which is valid, so that the person where you're using it will check to see if you have signed it. And then you can start using it. But in a debit card, the signature may not be needed, but it should immediately go and take the data out, the money out, and give you a balance like in a slip, right? So there is never a start date. Why didn't anybody think about it? What about the BJP guys? This is not something that is simple, because here is the numbers. The numbers are mind-boggling. I'll show you the numbers in here. If you do the basic math, each Congress candidate gave 60,000 cards, according to this gentleman who gave the press release, of 5,000 each, which comes to 30 crores per MLA. Now, if they did it for 100 constituencies, that is 3,000 crores. And I've also given you the tweet link, because it's shown up only in a few places.
Yeah.
So 3,000 crores, somebody has put in the money. Nothing happened. In my opinion, I think Sriramji will agree with me. It is just some printing press putting plastic cards with nothing, no backing. No bank is going to give 5,000 rupee prepaid card without checking who's going to pay for it. Somewhere the cash trail would have been there.
Absolutely.
It's essentially cheating. But tell me something. Do you think the Election Commission can act now against this?
See, eventually, unless and otherwise this was complained at that point in time before the election happened, or during that time, election could have been countermanded. But now what happens is people will claim that, they never distributed. Because, there is no proof that who distributed this or whether this was distributed in the first place or not, unless there is public come out. Because if you are talking about 60,000 cards on an average per constituency, then at least 60,000 people should come out very openly and then talk about saying that, okay, I too have this card, but I was cheated. But very difficult for the public to come and make a complaint about it, because then you sold your vote, which then they will be ridiculed, saying that, even now when Tamil Nadu, everybody knows what is the going rate of each vote in each election. People do claim, demand from the political parties for this. But the moment you go and investigate, saying that did you get any money for voting, people will say no, I didn't get any money, because there's no proof, because it is actually a shameful act to accept money to vote. So nobody is going to come out openly and then say, hey, look, I was cheated. Only way they will express here is in the subsequent election that, you cheated me and then I'm going to screw you royally. That's all will happen. But at this point in time, even unless this complaint is proved that, Congress did give this, 5,000 rupees preloaded cash card, then Election Commission cannot take any. At this point, once the election is completed, election is done, results announced, Election Commission doesn't have any jurisdiction. It is the court that should come into play and then, do the investigation. But who will do the investigation? It has to be done by the same state government police to start with, because it is well within within the state. The conspiracy and cheating is within the state, so CBI or anybody else cannot do that unless otherwise. And if the cash is transferred, then ED can come in. No cash is transferred. It's all just a small plastic card that was printed and then given. Simplest thing people should have asked is, okay, where is my PIN number for this card? Right? It's not just you just walk into a bank and then say, hey, here is a card, give me my 5,000, right? It is like TTB Dinagaran in RK Nagar election, when which was countermanded eventually, and then subsequently also when it was held, because it was countermanded because, a lot of malpractices are happening. So when subsequently when it was held and then TTB Dinagaran contested, they gave a 20 rupee, fresh 20 rupee note. And then, with a certain series. The moment, you after the election, you just take the 20 rupee note to certain shops in outside of the constituency, who will distribute cash to you, right? Very innovative way, very, very innovative way of bribing people for vote, right? Because you will not be caught, 20 rupee note, carrying a 20 rupee note, 100 notes, which is about 2,000 rupees. It's legally allowed during the election process also, saying that, okay, I'm taking it for election expenses, tea, coffee expenses. And then you just distribute it, tell them that take this 20 rupee note to these shops are outside of the constituency, you will be paid money, right? So very, very innovative way these people did that.
Okay, so somebody saying that BJP has said that they will protest statewide if the promises are not kept. And we'll wait and see. This should have been like front and center, okay?
Exactly.
I mean, it's not something that's so small. Let's go back to that slide, please. I have one more small thing to summarize here. Yes. So basically, the Hindu men sold their vote for 1,000 rupees plus liquor, free 200 units electricity, and 3,000 rupees per month unemployment money. Hindu women sold it for 5,000 gift card, promise of 2,000 per month, free bus pass, cheap cylinder, and 10 kilograms rice. So this is the takeaway at the final bottom line is, after Congress won, they have not delivered anything to Hindus, and based on CM order, it is clear Hindus who voted for freebies will get nothing. Zero. Zip. Shunya. Nimge enu sikta illa. So sorry to hear this.
Very sorry to hear this. And, one thing I know about Kannadigas, right? Unlike in Tamil Nadu, people are taken for a ride. Nothing is given. All promises are not kept. Starting from 2006, when free TV was ordered, at least TV was distributed. That time, Mr. Karnanidhi promised that, 2-acre land would be given to landless farmer. All the 2-acre land for all farmless farmers would be, given free of charge. They got, few of them got. I wouldn't say that they never kept it up, but that few, I don't know, you could decipher who would have got it, right? It's all to the people who belong to the party or something like that. Not everybody, not the deserving candidates. Then subsequently, Jayalalitha came, and then she promised a lot of things, fans and mixer grinder and bicycles, laptops, and then phone. All these were just distributed like anything. 2019 election, DMK government talked about they didn't have any jurisdiction. Unless they win it, only they can waive the jewel loan. And a lot of people went and pledged their loan, because Mr. Udayanithi Stalin, even during campaign, asked, haven't you pledged your jewel for loan? If you haven't, please go and do it now, because until the election is done, if you are pledged, you will get the money. And even same thing happened in 2021. And then the conditions were so many that a lot of people lost their priceless jewels that they earned and accumulated over a period of decades. They just lost it because they just relied on the promise given by the government. So one lesson that we should learn, Shriya, here is the political promises, unless it is qualified and then a fundamental budget on how they will get the budget for meeting these promises are given, I think Election Commission should swing into action, force once again, what happened, the politicians will not enact this, right? That's where the unfortunate thing happens. Unless otherwise people's representation of people act is amended to prevent any freebies from being given. Of course, Supreme Court has mooted out certain discussion amongst the political parties. Unless something is done, the political parties which wants to win. So far, BJP is very cautious about not promising too many things, but they may be forced, because Jayalalitha did that in 2011. When 2006, Karunanidhi promised so many things. In fact, Mr. Karunanidhi called out the hero of the election was his manifesto, promises and manifesto. So 2011, Jayalalitha was compelled to give a lot of things free of charge. Of course, she also bungled up on a lot of things. But what I'm calling out is Kannadigas at least are reacting. The Karnataka people are now reacting, saying that where is my 200 units? Where is my bus pass? Where is my unemployment benefits? At least they start reacting, which will force the politicians to be little more careful and guarded. But this is a serious lesson to all the voters not to rely on these sort of promises, tall promises. Unless otherwise it is given to a target audience, at least one can start believing that May, when 2019 Rahul Gandhi Congress said, 7,000 rupees salary to everybody, all the unemployed. Even people who are employed at 4,000, 5,000 rupees household, they will stop working, because anyway, without working, you are going to get 7,000 rupees anyway, government money, unemployment benefit. Why should I go and work? So that will ultimately start creating a churn of inflation in the country, which was a worst scheme. Thankfully, people rejected that in 2019. So that is the lesson that I'm learning here. I think we will keep a watch on it. We will collect data as and when it comes during the show. We'll start placing it on and then call the bluffs of this government.
Thank you so much, Sriram. And now let us take a look at the next item that we wanted to talk about today, the controversies around Sengol. Sengol is a historic thing. You have found it mentioned in many instances, even as recently as like last few days. Even in the Meenakshi temple, Sriram, a friend of mine sent me the data.
Yeah.
There also, there is a Sengol was given, because Meenakshi was given the right to rule the kingdom, and the priest comes and gives the Sengol. So this is not one Chora thing. It has been there for a lot of empires around South India. And it's a moment of pride for every Sanatani, and there people are going and making politics out of it, especially saying like Jairam Ramesh, what a stupid quote he's put out. And he says he's quoting Hindu. We are going to show you some information from 1947. Sriram, please take it away.
See, the scepter, Sengol, in Tamil history, it has a very significant value. When a transfer of power, or the moment anybody is coronated to become a king, the chief relic or the chief priest hands over this scepter or the Sengol to say that you need to rule within the dharma of this nation, dharma of this our Sanatana dharma, and three things that signifies, or four things that signifies the power. Number one, the kritam that that is put on the head. And then the simmasan, the throne in which the king sits, and then the umbrella, the venkotra kudai, that is a white umbrella, then the Sengol. So all the other three are more of decorative, whereas the Sengol or the scepter is nothing but a power. That is a symbolism of power. Okay, now the question is, where are all the historic references? In Silappadigaram, when Kannagi, whose husband was killed by the Pandya king, when she goes to challenge the king, saying that about the wrong or false pretense in which her husband was killed, there Ilango Vadigal says in his hymns that the Pandya Sengol broke because this guy fell from his dharma. He did, the righteousness, and there was a wrong or misplaced thing happened in his kingdom, and hence that Sengol itself broke. So that's the significance of the Sengol. That's the significance of the scepter. Now the Congress people are claiming that such incident never happened. That in 1947, see, actually in 1947 or 45, if I'm not wrong, when British decided to give independence and how the transfer of power would happen. Then Nehru consulted Rajaji. It is somewhere, the Paramacharya seemed to, has recalled an incident that, he actually instructed Rajaji about this, Sengol or handover through a scepter, transfer of power through a scepter. But Rajaji actually suggested to Nehru that in South India, there are a lot of references of transfer of power is denominated by handing over of the scepter. And that is what, and then, in olden days, in Chola kingdoms and Pandya kingdoms, this, Kolari Padigam, which is part of the Tevaram, Adiyargal Vanil Arasalvar Aanai Namade. That is, in the presence of all the Shivan Adiyars, and the king takes the power to rule. Aanai Namade means actually the chief priest gives this order to the king to take over this power. I think that is how this is done. So Rajaji suggested that Thiruvavaduthurai Adheenam, who actually has been part of olden era, should hand over the scepter, and all the arrangements were made, and then that was given to Mountbatten, Lord Mountbatten. Mountbatten gave it to Thiruvavaduthurai Adheenam, and it was cleaned with Ganges water, and then presented to Prime Minister of independent India, Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru, who accepted that. This is a historic moment. So let us for a moment take that in olden day history, 1,000 years back, 2,000 years back, Cholas, Pandyas never did that. Let's assume at least Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru did this in 1947. So that is a historic fact. What did Congress do? They kept this in Ananda Bhavanam in Allahabad Museum, kept this as golden walking stick presented to Jawaharlal Nehru. Ridiculed this entire culture, civilization of our Hindu culture and civilization that we all followed. The second argument, they started posing is there's no historic reference or there's no literary reference to this Sengol at all. That transfer of power happens from one king to other. People should remember one thing. Always an emperor is an emperor until he dies. I use the gender he and not she because very rarely a queen had been there. There are of course very several queens had been there in South India, but generally I'm talking about he. I'm using a gender he because only male king were there in most of the dynasty. So until the king dies, the power doesn't transfer. The person is a Yuvaraj, a prince, and not a ruler. Only after the king dies, the ruler, the prince or the Yuvaraj becomes the king. That is why a handover from that king to this and a new king never happens. So that is when the head priest takes the previous emperor or king's scepter, Sengol, and then hands it over to the new king, officially marking this as a recognition of coronation of the king. This has a very, very significant impact. Of course, every civilization, every culture has this. Even if you take the Queen of England has a scepter in her hand. Even Tamil Nadu, several mayors, when they are throned or when they are sworn in, a scepter is given. And all of a sudden, a political party, Karnanidhi, has received several scepters, Sengol, made of silver and gold by their cadres. So there is a significance of this Sengol in Tamil, literature, Tamil civilization, the Hindu culture, and that is ridiculed by Congress. Thanks to Prime Minister, otherwise nobody even will know this civilizational activity that was happening in the past. Nobody would have even known what happened in 1947. Thanks to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, that now the generation, at least across India, across the world, learns about the greatness of how a transfer of power happens in the civilization that we live in, or that we are proud of. I think that pride was taken away by Congress. They ridiculed by making this as a walking stick presented to him. That is that's a worst thing that they can ever do to this civilization. That's an insult to the people of the country.
Yes,
And
indeed. Yes, indeed. And just to
embarrassment.
show, just to complete the conversation, Sriramji, I want to go back. So this is where the Allahabad Museum, we are showing you the picture. What an insult
Right.
these guys did. And now let's go back to Mr. Jairam Ramesh's claims and Hindu story and so on. Let's go back and put the original slide deck, please, because I want to show the coverage. Yeah, thank you. See, this is the coverage in a foreign newspaper, because we never trust our own newspapers. This is a foreign newspaper. Okay. And you can see there, one sannyasi carried a scepter of gold, 5 feet long, 2 inches thick. He sprinkled Nehru with holy water from Tanjore and drew a streak in sacred ash across Nehru's forehead. Then he wrapped Nehru in the Pitambaram and handed him the golden scepter. He also gave Nehru some cooked rice, which had been offered that very morning to the dancing god Nataraja in South India, then flown by plane to Delhi.
Yep.
And this is just a magnified thing. This is a foreign newspaper. We just took out the relevant paragraph from this and we expanded it for your interest. So there is, I mean, Sriram, Jairam Ramesh is an MIT, PhD from MIT, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
This is the intellectual level of this guy?
No, that's very, very, that's what I tweeted to Jairam Ramesh, saying that forget about our national evidences or documentation. I gave him two reference points. One is this Time magazine, which was on 24th or 25th August 1947 published. It's a foreign magazine where, at least, we trust the foreigners. The second one that you showed, that one more picture, share here, where, the 24th paragraph, right? Another one.
Go back.
Okay. Yeah. This one, head of much says Royal Council. This is a documented policy document of HRNC Department of Tamil Nadu government, 22-23. Sorry, 22-23, 21-22. Sorry, 22-23. This was there in 22-23. Sorry, 2021-2022 policy document. When this government took over, DMK government took over, Mr. Shekhar Babu, who is the Minister of HRNC, published this policy document. Page 27, paragraph number 24 of the policy document of Tamil Nadu government, which claims that, this history did happen, right? So there are documented evidences. The Hindu may, ridicule, Hindu may write some, crap, but there are several other documents that are available. There are even many books by, I think, a Russian wrote about it, and which was translated. There's several other documents that are available that this incident happened. So people who claim that in olden days, Cholas, Pandyas period, this never happened, there are literary references. Forget about it. Did Nehru commit a blunder? I asked this question during one of the debate with one of the Congress spokesperson in the national channel. Tell me one thing. Nehru committed a blunder in 1947 when he became the first prime minister. Then our conversation ends here, and then we can have a different conversation. And the person could not answer, probably, started, spinning other stories and then, walked away. But this is a moment to relish. We all can relive the 1947 moment when a new parliament is dedicated to the nation. I think that's a brilliant masterstroke from Modi to relive this. And now this scepter will have a rightful place in the parliament. It will be kept next to the speaker, who is the Sabha Nayakar, which is, he is the head of the parliament, he is head of that house, and it will be kept next to his seat. I think that's the best ever respect that our culture can get it, our civilization can get it, our Hindu way of life can get it, and this scepter has a Nandi on top of it, right? I think that is why several of this left ecosystem and missionaries ecosystem, Caldwell ecosystem are getting perturbed by, because All they need to do is ridicule our religious beliefs and ridicule our customs so that they can do a conversion, they can do all these things. Now, this is getting played back, and a lot of people are now reading about it. A lot of people read about Chola Kingdom, the forgotten history of our past. Forget about, I'm not talking about South India alone. Every state has several of their culture. People will now start digging through what is my culture. I think that is what is a talking point now by this incident. And thanks to Congress, they protested that, they are boycotting it. Thanks to Congress, they are at least educating the remaining 1.5 billion people, about our history, our civilization, our culture. I think we are thankful to them for this.
Rahul Gandhi must be thinking, if I have friends like Jairam, why do I need enemies? So
I think that was another brilliant slide that you put up.
No, we are go ahead and put that thing, please. Yeah, go ahead, sir. Yeah.
This is an official press release. See, the Adheenam, Thiruvavaduthurai Adheenam, cautiously kept away from this public discourse because Congress and the DMKs and the Dravidian stock ecosystem started challenging. See, once what they did is, it never happened in the history. So why should we do it? Then when they talked about why did Nehru do it, they started just brushing this under the carpet, saying that no such incident happened. Last 2 days, they've been trying to say that no such incident happened. It was just a gift to Nehru as a walking stick, nothing more. It was just a gift by the Adheenam, nothing more than that. So Adheenam had to come out into public and then issue a press statement saying that what happened in 1947, to reiterate the point. And thanks to one more reference point we need to talk about, Shriya, here is today's Supreme Court actually came in heavily on the person who filed a public interest litigation. One lawyer from Tamil Nadu filed a public interest litigation, not on the scepter issue, but stating that president should inaugurate or dedicate the parliament to the nation, not the prime minister. Why is the president not taken? As if they have a love for the scheduled tribe and a woman president. They just campaigned against her when she was nominated as a presidential candidate. But now they just take a love for her, for her highness, right? And then filed a petition, and the court came very heavily on them. And then finally, this person pleaded that he will withdraw this public interest litigation. Then the council from Government of India demanded that this guy will not go and file it in any other by withdrawal. If the Supreme Court allowed it to withdraw, then he will go to any of the state high court and then file a petition and then try to create a problem there. So then this guy was allowed to give an affidavit saying that he has no intention to file any other public interest litigation in any other state high court, and then they allowed the withdrawal of this particular public interest litigation. So Supreme Court also felt that this is the right way to do it. And of course, in the Supreme Court, the scepter issue never came up, because scepter issue is more of a public discourse, public discussion. Adheenam was forced to come out in public. And that is what, the Congress and Dravidian ecosystem, left ecosystem has done. All the opposition parties have done. 20 odd political parties are, not going to participate in this particular historic event. And will they say that we will not go and sit in that parliament anymore? By saying boycotting this inauguration or dedication on 28th, are they also going to say that, okay, fine, we will not go and sit in this parliament anymore? When the session happens, they have to go and sit there. So it's a shameful event, So I'm feeling actually very ashamed and then embarrassed that this is happening in my country.
Let's get back to, So just to finish the thought on that before we go to questions, Sriram, I have been suggesting in many of my videos that if you think that inaction is going on a particular item, you should write to your MP and explain that this is what we want you to do. Nothing has happened in this. For example, the corruption cases. I said, write to your MP. And then one person sent me back a comment saying that if I write, then these guys will come after me, perhaps quoting what happens in Tamil Nadu. So guys, there is a way out of this. Use something called as Proton Mail, PROTONMAIL. Your anonymity is guaranteed. It's a Swiss email software.
Yep.
Okay, if you send it using that, they can never figure out where you sent it from. Now, if 5,000 of these things come in, and then they have to act. The MPs are not being challenged. The MPs don't take care of your water and the local thing. They'll say, go talk to the panchayat or munsi for mayor. They don't take care of that. They don't take care of your electricity. So what exactly are the members of parliament supposed to do? They are supposed to legislate, and they are also supposed to act responsibly, make sure that the promises given at the time of election are fulfilled. So you can use Proton Mail to send the email. Nobody is going to come and catch you. I'm telling you, I mean, this is something that is, no, I'll give you an example why nobody has been able to catch. Maridas, this News 18 episode, right? That 18 people got fired. That really happened. Though that 18 people really got fired. Mukesh Ambani got rid of those people. Some of the lumpets are still hanging around in other channels now. That's a different matter, but it did happen. But they tried to somehow create a controversy out of it. They even jailed him for that. But till today, the Chennai cyber wing has not been able to figure out who actually sent that Proton Mail email. So the anonymity is guaranteed. In fact, I told these guys in cyber security division, why are you going after this guy? You cannot establish who sent this Proton Mail. Anybody can pose as anybody and send it. So the point I'm trying to make is your anonymity is guaranteed. If you feel strongly that somebody has not done something, it doesn't matter which party, okay? I am not any party member, neither is Sriram Seshadri. We want what do we want? We want that Bharat Mata should go to its greatest heights. That's all.
Yep.
Nothing else, okay? We don't have any good feeling. If somebody does good, we say, you did well. Somebody didn't do well, so we criticize that. Nothing else. Let's take questions now, please. Bharani Chandar wants to know, what is the limit of percentage of GDP recommended by both on freebies that can boost the livelihood of people and not intensifies not working?
Okay. Bharani Chandar, I think very good question. There is no percentage of GDP that one can recommend. Because if a state like Chhattisgarh or a state like Jharkhand, where the development is not as good as Maharashtra or Karnataka or Tamil Nadu, then government has to spend more there for the livelihood of the people, and to some extent, incentivizing a wrong behavior also would be there to some extent. I will talk about take that out. But who is the target population? So the moment you are going to do a freebie or a policy to give it, then you have to have a target group. You cannot just like that give it to everybody. See, I'll tell you one example. When gas cylinder subsidy was withdrawn or to be withdrawn, originally the government, Modi came in 2014, he requested those who want to give up. Actually, several million people gave up, including myself. I gave up saying that I don't want any subsidy. I'll pay the full price because I can afford to do that. Of course, now after that, the subsidy entire thing was removed, was different story altogether, which I still feel very strongly that for the BPL family, gas cylinder subsidy should be there. I strongly feel that government is not doing right thing. But there's no percentage one can recommend. We need to look at who is the target group and what should be done in a time-bound manner to bring them out of that particular target group. I think that is where the failures are happening, Bharani.
Next question, Ajay Nagendra wants to know. Thank you, Ajay. BJP has failed to counter the freebies. They have already said something similar for MP. With the rural distress, people might actually buy in. This is Kamal Nath.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, Ajay. That, this is where, we strongly feel that why BJP is not picking up these stories. Even in Karnataka, when the elections are happening, I tweeted, I wrote, saying, and spoke in several other channels saying that in Himachal Pradesh, Congress promised several certain things, and then they have not even taken a step further. Forget about fulfilling or implementing it fully. They have not even released a white paper on how they will, ensure that some of those promises would be made. And nobody in Himachal Pradesh also asked. Nobody was highlighting that in Karnataka. In Madhya Pradesh also, They are not going to do that, in my opinion, because the moment Kamal Nath, mentioned that some of these freebies, ideally speaking, Shivraj Singh Chauhan or Jyotiraditya Scindia should have held a press conference and then highlighted these. So you need to strike the iron when it is hot. But once it sinks into people, then people will, the moment you start talking about it much later, people will start thinking that you are derailing that freebie to be received by them. I think it has to be the bluff had to be called then and there. I think they are failing it. Hope until they will pick it up in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh election. This topic.
Sir, Sriram, there's a simple way to explain this. Decision paralysis. It has
Yep.
certain in BJP. Everything is being consulted all the way to the top two people. And the top
Yep.
two people, one person asks for the other person to say yes or no. This is what is happening. We've been saying this for a long time. This is how it happens on the ground. There'll be decision paralysis. Next
Right.
question, please. Dinesh Kumar Putra wants to know, thank you so much for becoming a member. I didn't have a question there. Next one. Narendra Shetty, will this gimmicks of Congress favor Modiji in 2024?
These gimmicks definitely will favor Modiji. I think when it comes to the national election, the equation is different, Narendra. That Modi's popularity still at a very high, and in the heartland or the north of Vindhyas, Bihar, the Bimaru region that we talk about, Bihar, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand. This is the Bimaru region, which constitutes about 250 to 260 seats. I think there it's a very, very popular sentiments about Modi. Of course, in Maharashtra, Gujarat also adds a significant amount. So, in order to beat Modi, Congress has to become much bigger nationalist. That's where they struggle. They cannot become a bigger nationalist than Modi. So that is where they will find it difficult. And all these gimmicks in Karnataka will favor unless next 6-7 months time, unless Karnataka turns around and then fulfills its promises. I think the Karnataka people will lock, stock, and barrel vote against the Congress. I think those things will definitely, but BJP has to take it to the masses. You and I cannot be doing that. Of course, you and I also have a responsibility for national building, not for a party building. Party has to take it forward to the masses and then say, this is called the bluff. Otherwise, some places they will have to face the defeat. Madhya Pradesh election, it is going to be 50-50 at this point in time. Rajasthan looks brighter for BJP. Chhattisgarh, 100% it is going to be Congress. And Telangana, BJP will be in the second place. Mizoram, probably, it is much more beneficial for BJP at this point. I'm talking about 8-9 months before the election, what is the mood of the state. But looking at the current situation, it is a 50-50 chance for BJP to gain momentum in all these areas except Rajasthan.
Mr. Lee wants to know, Karnataka was a revolving door between two political poles for the past 38 years. Did Congress really need to promise so many freebies to win in 2023?
Mr. Lee, I think one thing very clearly Congress wanted to do was they did not want JDS to be the kingmaker. I think that was very, very clear. In fact, between BJP and Congress, they wanted JDS to be not to be a kingmaker, because otherwise there is no going to be a continuation of power, and definitely stability won't be there. Second thing, Congress badly needed Karnataka, because otherwise they had only in Chhattisgarh, nowhere else they were in power. They badly needed Karnataka, so that they can do a much bigger negotiation with regional parties in 2024. So that's why they had to give all promises, spend significant amount of money, come what may, they wanted to win the election. Of course, BJP's misgovernance also added to Congress success in Karnataka. Without these freebies, I think some of the rural areas, actually BJP lost significant amount of seats in rural areas. Some of these freebies, especially the power subsidy, 200 units free, and unemployed graduate benefit, and 2,000 rupees to the woman, All these would have worked. And then 5,000, if this cash card 5,000 is reality, then definitely that would have worked in their favor.
Balaji KR wants to know, why is Naveen Kumar Katil and BL Santosh still not fired? Cvoter Yeshwant Deshmukh thinks Modi and Shah knew this before in hand and engineered this defeat. Your opinion, sir?
25th October 2022, I and my friend 𝗣𝙑 Sriram, who was my partner in crime, actually
you guys do great work, sir.
we actually pointed this out, Mr. Balaji, that the rift that is happening in Karnataka political scenario between, Katil, BL Santosh and Yediyurappa is going to cost you dearly. That time we estimated 55 to 65 seats for BJP, and that's where they landed. Of course, later on, a lot of corrective actions taken, and we relied on the data that was given. Because we went to the market, we went to the public and then asked who will you vote. So our sample size probably was skewed, or we got a wrong, because 12 out of 14 pollsters got it wrong. Only 2 pollsters got it right. So it's not that it was significantly our failure, because we got the message, probably we got it wrong. But Modi knew that for sure, because that is why he spent 8 full days in the campaign. He wanted to at least pull up something. I'm sure that Modi knew that. Amit Shah, of course, knew that, because some of these messages we even marked Amit Shah, and we even wrote to him saying that these issues happen. Forget about it. We are all small pawns in this equation. They have a much bigger machinery which will collect data and then give them. And of course, Modi and Amit Shah knew this. And I wouldn't say they engineered the defeat in Karnataka, because Karnataka was as crucial as for BJP compared to Congress. But they tried to pull it up. They tried to heavy lift it. But unfortunately, it was too late when they tried to do the heavy lifting. But I'm sure some corrective action has to be taken. Himachal lost. Nobody was fired. It was 3 groups which fought with amongst each other in BJP. It was Nadda's home state, Nadda's home constituency and district. BJP was drubbed, but no actions was taken. And Karnataka, nobody at this point in time, nobody was even was made accountable. I think they should start taking some accountability and then start at least punishing something. I'm sure internally they would have pulled up and then given a warning, caution, whatever it is. But it has to be a public image has to come out. Otherwise, these things will keep on happening in state after state after state.
Mr. Lee wants to know, why can't the BJP give solar panels and net metering for a limited period as a freebie? This would increase India's installed power generation potential from rooftop solar.
Mr. Lee, I think, BJP's principle of giving freebie, I support. Because, support in the sense, they say that, no freebie should be given. In my opinion, freebie should be given to a deserving, the target population. So we need to identify who would get what, and then based on that, one should give this freebie or whatever we talk about. But other than that, in my opinion, no freebie should be given. I think that's what BJP stands also at this point in time. Subsidies, definitely yes. For solar panels, there has to be a significant amount of subsidies because that will increase the power generation. I think each state has its own policy on this, installation of solar power. I think it's a state subject, not as a center subject, but definitely your point is well taken. Center should intervene and then start giving some amount of subsidies for this.
With that, we bring to a close today's program with Sriram Seshadri. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. As always, start liking these programs. It helps us reach more of you. And the quality of Sriram Seshadri. I mean, we have put together several hours of time trying to get this data in front of you. And, we would appreciate it very much if you can like the video as soon as it starts airing. Thank you, Sriramji. Namaskar. And we'll be seeing you again very soon.
Namaskar. Namaskar.